Hi friends, I hope you all are doing great. It's me, Nikki, here to talk about things that you really need to stop doing today if you work from home. I hope these things can be helpful to move them out of your work life so that you can curate a beautiful work life. If you have not gotten beautifully organized at work, my book where I share with you how to curate a beautiful work life, it is a must. It is a must. It is a must. It's such a great resource. I share so many tips with you, so many resources with you to help you kind of get that work life so that it really is beneficial to you and brings you joy. So I will put the link to that down below. But let's jump into talking about those things that you shouldn't be doing if you work from home. Because working from home can be a blessing and a curse, right? It can be a blessing as, you can work in your pajamas, you can kind of, balance that home and work life a little bit. Sometimes that's kind of one of those gray areas too. But then also working from home, it can cause you to have less productivity. You feel more chaotic. You can even feel just kind of lazy because the accountability so much is not there, and the get up and go, not having to get up and physically move that body as much is not there. So it really can be a hindrance also. So I want to talk about these things that if you stop doing them today, it can really help you create a beautiful work life at home. So let's jump into it. Tip number one, stop sleeping in. If you're working from home, you want to have that same type of schedule that you have if you had to go outside the home. When you tend to just sleep in, your day gets off track, you can't have that consistency, productivity goes down, you can tend to miss meetings, and it really it not only upsets your workload, it upsets you and your work life even if you don't realize it. So set that schedule so that you get up at a certain time on your work day and you end at a certain time on your work day. Stop the sleeping in. The next thing is stop skipping meals. This is not good for you because one, when you skip your meals, you start to lose your concentration, you start to build up stress, which then decreases productivity. It just takes that sparkle away from work and it makes you tired, right? It increases your stress and it makes you tired. So it's important because you can get all in at work and get really distracted also, but it's important to have that structure where you're taking that time to have your meals every day. The next tip is to stop multitasking. I know back in the day, everybody was like, oh, if you can multitask, then that's high productivity. And my friend, I'm here to tell you, absolutely not. I feel like when you multitask, you're just kind of dibbling, dabbling, and you're not really productive. You're not getting things done. You're not getting things done in quality. So stop the multitasking. It's not about juggling all of these things. It's about the quality that you infuse into your work day. And so you rather just stay focused on a task at hand and then move on to the next task instead of trying to give each task a little part of yourself, because in the end you're going to have low productivity and you're not going to have the positive effect that you're going to have if you really structure your workload out to really focus on one task at a time. And so with multitasking, what I find a lot with clients that is the cause or why it's difficult for them not to multitask is because they have too much access. They give too much access of themselves. So they have the email up, they have the phones, the text messages available. And sometimes if you're getting ready to work on a project, you're going to have to shut down the email, shut down the text message so that you can focus on that task at hand. The world is not going to fall apart if you don't respond to that email in an hour after you finish that task. But if you don't put those things into place and shut those things down, you're setting yourself up to be that kind of multitasker because email's going to come in, you're going to feel like you need to drop, and I can do that really quick. But all of those really quick things you think you're doing, you're really taking away from the quality of your work and overall productivity. The next thing to stop doing, friends, is working in bed. If you work from home, I know it can be tempting to just get the cup of coffee, get in your bed. I know, been guilty myself, not a good idea. You want to get up and you want to be productive. You want to get up, you want to make your bed, you want to get dressed, and you want to have that routine. When you start to work from bed, you really start building that habit that your relaxation space, which is your bedroom and your bed, is a workspace. And then it can cause you to have difficulty at night when you want to wind down and relax, because you have established this as a working area. And so you don't want to do that. You want to, especially with working from home, it's important to distinguish, cutoffs, So getting out of bed, getting dressed, and getting up and going and sitting somewhere else to work is so important with building that healthy work life at home. The next thing to stop doing, friends, is to stop not taking breaks throughout your day. You need to take breaks to get up and stretch your legs. You need to take breaks to get up and interact with other humans. So if you work from home and there's no one else in your home, jump on a Zoom call with a friend girl or a coworker, or get on the phone with someone. Go for a walk. Just get that 15 minutes of break time in, because it is really going to be beneficial to you in your work day, because you're going to be able to come back more focused. You're going to come back and have more energy. You're going to have more brain power to make better decisions, and you're not beating your body up. So it's so important to take that morning break and to take that afternoon break so that you really can be optimal during your workday. The next thing, friends, is to stop working outside of your work time. That is easy to do working from home, and you can consume your whole world with work if you're not careful. And it's important to set those boundaries, or when you're going to work and when it is strictly home time. I am always on my team about that. You have to cut it off. At Home with Nikki is not going to fall apart if we don't do 24/7. And I never want my team working like that. It's not healthy. It's not what I desire. That doesn't bring me joy to have people working, all the time for me. I want everyone to kind of have those boundaries. And I think it's important for me and everyone else to have those boundaries so that you give yourself that balance between your home and your work, and you don't kind of mesh the two, right? Because then you stop taking care of the things at home that need to be taken care of, because your mind is already in that work mode. But you will find if you build and you put those boundaries in place, you have a better day. You have a refreshed spirit, and it's just really an important part of your health to do that and to be optimal for your work life. Because if you burn yourself out, which if you do that, it is not going to lead to nothing but that burnout, right? We all know that. And so knowing that, put the boundaries in place. And again, the business, the company is not going to fall apart if you work your normal work 8 hours. That's what you agreed to. That's what you should do. The next is to stop ignoring ergonomics. I know I'm bad. This is one that I struggle with, but it's important that when you're working from home, you implement that desk, that chair, that tool that helps you really sit the way you need to sit when you're working and sitting at that computer all day. I even say having those blue lens glasses so that you're looking at the computer all day. I have a desk that is adjustable. I can stand up sometimes. I can put it down sometimes. Some of you remember I had my desk with the bike on it, so that when I was in a Zoom call, sometimes I could kind of just have that movement to ride a bike. But you want to make sure that at home you're having, you're not always sitting on the sofa or sitting somewhere for hours on the computer, and you're not taking care of your body and your posture, because that is really going to affect you. Even into those years where you're out of the work field, you're going to start feeling those effects of what you did to your body during your work day all those years back. So make sure that you just take an assessment of kind of your workstation or your work area at home to make sure that that ergonomics is definitely handled. The other thing is to stop getting distracted by household tasks. And that goes back to setting those boundaries, not only for work, but setting those boundaries for home, giving everything its place. Because if you let the home distractions, because you are home, get in the way, you're going to start seeing that in your productivity, in the things that you're putting out at work. You're going to start having stressors because maybe your boss is seeing that you're really not finishing tasks when you need to finish them, or handling things that you need to handle, that because you're kind of falling into the trap of getting drawn into all of those distractions. And again, the world is not going to fall apart if you don't go check the mail at a certain time, or if you don't go put that load of laundry in at a certain time during your work day. You have to think there was a time when you possibly were not even at home, so it wasn't even an issue. You have to take those boundaries that you had when you worked outside of the home and apply them when you're home. We're going into summertime. The kids are home. It's important to set that schedule for your kids so that they're not the distraction for you. And if you have not gotten my Beautifully Organized Planner, that's another book. That is also my second book that I put out. I have in there, especially for my parents, it is a schedule that you can create for your kids, for them for the summer. You can kind of write out their schedule, their after school schedule or their summer schedule, whatever you want, and that will really help you kind of outline those boundaries or establish that routine. But whatever the case may be, you want to create that environment that you don't get distracted. It may be simply having that conversation with your family, putting a sign on your home office door so they know not to come in at a certain time, so that you can really focus on work. Because there's nothing like trying to focus on a Zoom call and really be in the moment and then have all of these things come at you from home. So definitely, friends, come up with a way to keep all of those home distractions away. The next thing, friends, is to stop avoiding interactions with your colleagues and your coworkers. This was such an important part of our work life when we worked outside of the home. With so many of us working from home now, communication has really changed because you're not face to face with people anymore. You're not having to go into meetings and groups and look at each other and communicate with each other, pass each other down the hall. Now it's easy to go through a whole day and not talk with anyone, and that is something that you do not want to really get into the habit of doing in your work life, because one, it's healthy for us to engage and talk to others, right? It keeps us in a good mental space. But other than that, it's also important to have verbal communication. And it really, when it comes to accomplishing a job, having someone who you never talk to, you never can verbally have a conversation, so many things can get confused. You can't tell tone a lot of times in an email. You can't connect with the person as easily when it's a written communication. But when you have that conversation with someone, you're able to have that small talk. You're able to feel the person's vibe, their tone. You're able to really more efficiently discuss issues and projects and different things in that verbal communication. And so it's so important that we don't lose sight of the importance of getting on that Zoom call with a colleague, getting on the phone with a colleague. My team, a lot of times we use Voxer. If you don't have that, it's kind of like a walkie-talkie. So it's really better than email in the fact that you hear your team member's voice and you guys immediately can go back and forth. It's just a walkie-talkie, and it's really helpful. I'll put the link to Voxer down below if you're interested in it. It's definitely an app that we use all day, every day, and we love it. So friends, I hope that my tips on things that you need to stop doing today if you work from home have been helpful. Let me know in the comments, what are some of the 10, if any of those 10 I shared that you struggle with, let me know in the comments, because all of these beautiful friends out here, you guys give so much great advice and tips. And so it's nice if you're struggling with something that you're willing to share it in the comments, because there's thousands of friends out there and that can help. And so let's definitely support each other as we go on this beautiful work journey. I hope, and I do want to remind you, grab Beautifully Organized now. Go ahead, the link's there. Go ahead and purchase it. It's everywhere that books are sold, but I'll put the Amazon link down below where you can buy it off Amazon. Have a beautiful day, my friends. I will see you at the next video. And this is Nikki saying goodbye.